and welcome to Power News. I'm Juhi Rajput. In today's episode, we're discussing India's Hydro Vision 2020. To discuss the same, we've been joined by Mr. R.P. Singh, CMD Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam Limited, Mr. V.K. Kanjlia, Secretary Central Board of Irrigation and Power, Mr. S.C. Sharma, CEO Hydro Jindal Power, Mr. M.M. Madan, Director Hydro GVK Group, Mr. Khatua, MD OHPC Limited. Very good evening and welcome to Power News. Well, let me just start the discussion with Mr. Singh. We almost have 1,50,000 megawatt hydro potential, but only 25% has been harnessed so far. Around 7,000 megawatt was added in the 10th plan and 9,000 megawatt is expected to be added in 11th five-year plan. Don't you feel in a scenario where we're talking about 1 lakh megawatt capacity addition in 12th five-year plan, the progress so far on hydro front is not up to mark?
I would like to give you a brief outline of our 1 lakh megawatt potential is yet to be developed in our country, and we put our neighboring countries of Nepal and Bhutan. This all put together will be around 2 lakh megawatt. Coming back to your question, that why there has been the lesser growth in the hydro sector in the past 1 to 2 5-year plans. I will tell you, it's a fundamental that water is a state subject and power being the concurrent list of a state as well as the center. Now that state's role has been very, very important, it has become right from the power to be allocated to the developers. There are various clearances associated with this, and not merely that, you have heard about a very surprises, geological surprises even during the execution. If you talk about the risk management, then there has to be the identification of the risks to meet these surprises which is coming out during execution. Risk sharing either by the agencies who is developing the project or the contractor to win over the time and cost overrun and to avoid disputes. Even after completion of the project, you face other challenges in the form of, say, silt, heavy silt being carried by rivers, different rivers, and particularly the rivers in the Himalayan region where our most of the hydro sites are available.
Well, hydro capacity addition has steadily declined over the years because of several reasons like stringent environmental norms, poor infrastructure support and growing project development challenges. According to you, what remedial measures should be taken that could accelerate the hydropower development activity in the country?
Water being a state subject, the states have to be proactive. The states should provide the infrastructure. You are building a 200-300 kilometer road for executing a project, and you cannot just build a road. The cost of the road is loaded onto the project. The cost of the security is loaded onto the project. I was general manager of Uri project. I had a staff of 350. The security personnel was 700. The project developer is bearing all these costs. The state should provide, be proactive, provide these facilities. The developer should only develop the local areas, give them faster clearances, facilitate the development, then only it will take. The involvement of the Planning Commission, central government has notified policy, tariff policy, electricity policy, national R&R policy, this policy, and all these policies are notified by the center. What you require is a proactive role by the state. The state should come forward, state should get it developed. That's not happening. There lies the solution. The solution doesn't lie with the Ministry of Power only or the Planning Commission.
You see, when privatization was started, everybody was so enthusiastic. You can see that how many private entrepreneurs have taken the projects. They have taken so many projects in hand. But ultimately what happens, when they started executing, they found that there are enormous problems associated with this. All external problems, not internal. See, geology is one part which we can tackle as a technical man. We can technically see all the issues and take into account. But what about external factors? Like state governments today are not at all cooperating with us for infrastructure development. Law and order situations also, see, on the paper they say, okay, we accept this, that this is our problem, but really when you go to the site, they are not at all bothered. What is happening to your site? They never come and see that if you have any problems. Bridges, infrastructure, roads upgradation, in interior areas there are so many projects where you cannot carry your equipment, you cannot carry heavy transformers. Although the capacity is there, we have planned. Okay, but you cannot load to the one project. See, the state government or the central government should take this responsibility to upgrade bridges as well as roads, so that all developers can take the advantage of it and the share can be there of the price, which is not being done at present.
Well, if we talk about northeastern region where we have maximum potential and several projects are allocated to private companies, but very few projects have started. Projects were awarded long back, but projects have not come in implementation stage. What could be the reason?
Since independence, I mean, lot of initiatives were given in all sectors. Hydro sector, basically, I mean, since it's a different cup of tea from the various problems which have been enumerated, so it has taken always a back seat in the development. Now, if you look at the 11th plan, I find that in one of the year 2009-10, only 39 megawatt was added. We have added in 11-12 only 100 megawatt Koteshwar project. Even if it is slippages from the 10th to the 11th plan, we are slipping it to the 12th plan. Projects like Lower Subansiri of NHPC, Parvati 3 of NHPC. As far as the hydro business or hydro sector is concerned, the performance is really dismissal. I mean, very dismal performance has been there in the 11th plan also. We are also doing, I mean, Italian project, which is one of the biggest projects. Now, downstream is the Bang project of NHPC. 3 years back, I mean, the Prime Minister has laid this foundation stone, but till today, I mean, we have not been able to start the project in the country. It's not a criticism, but the state government, which is basically the owner of the project, because it is given on lease basis, whether it is at NHPC or the private sector, they are all doing it on the lease basis for 40 years, 50 years, 99 years. So, but ultimately owner is the state government. Water is the state subject. The law and order is the state subject. So from that angle, I think the infrastructure, which is basic requirement, must be in place, or at least initiatives are required to be taken for the road and bridges infrastructure to reach to the projects. The border road organization has to be more proactive in doing all these things, not from the angle of only hydro projects, but being the border states also. More things are required to be done, not only to the district connectivity, but to the project connectivity also.
Hydro projects are located mainly in the remote areas where the basic infrastructure facilities are very poor. Central and the state government agency must work closely in association with the project developer to facilitate the basic infrastructure required by the developer to ensure that projects are completed as per schedule. We'll take a short break here. You keep watching Power News.
To turn movements into a ballet, you need a choreographer. To turn products into integrated solutions, you need Larsen & Toubro. L&T's engineering expertise, manufacturing capability and application experience by introducing new levels of pace, performance and convenience at major utilities around the country. Integrated solutions in electrical and automation from Larsen & Toubro.
फिर बिजली गुल, अब तो 2-4 घंटे की छुट्टी।
गांव का केबल ही घटिया है।
देश में बिजली उत्पादन का लगभग 40% भाग दोषपूर्ण, घटिया केबल और बिजली की चोरी में व्यर्थ चला जाता है। क्यों ना एक ऐसा पावर केबल चुने जो बिजली बचाए और शॉर्ट सर्किट का जोखिम घटाए। सर्वोत्तम केबल, रवीन केबल, प्राइम कैब, रवीन केबल्स उत्पादन।
Northeastern Electric Power Corporation Limited, a Schedule A corporation under the Ministry of Power, playing a significant role in the integration and efficient development of hydroelectric and thermal power projects in the central sector, benefiting life, benefiting people. NEEPCO contributing and empowering the life of Northeast region.
Welcome back, you're watching Power News. In today's episode, we're discussing India's Hydro Vision 2020. As you rightly pointed out, hydro projects are also delayed on account of various clearances required from different ministries and departments. Developers are asking for single window clearances, but that is not in place yet. 2008 hydro policy has expedited the process up to some extent, but it still takes a lot of time, longer time.
More delays are taking place because of the forest clearance, because the Forest Advisory Committee, the frequency of meeting is very less. It should be at least once a month if we have to accelerate the development of the hydro, number one. Number two, the land acquisition, the act which it is there. Now, that also needs certain changes which are friendly to the hydro development. For power projects, the land acquisition act should be different than other infrastructure projects. So why for hydro projects we are delaying rather than accelerating the land acquisition under the Land Acquisition Act?
Why projects are not coming up to construction? This whole process of getting cleared takes years. Forest clearance, land clearance, many other agencies are involved. And for any hydro project, definitely land will be required, some forest land will be there, and different type of government lands will be there. Their clearance facility government should make so clear, so transparent and time-bound manner. There should be a focus group in the government who should look into how the private developers, even central PSUs or state PSUs, get the land, get the clearance in their project time. If that time is 2 years, everybody should sit together and see that the project should be cleared in 2 years. Another thing, that infrastructure, which takes a long period. We should have a basin development scheme. Instead of clearing a project, suppose there is in a basin, suppose this is Brahmaputra basin, a project can take place from the road level to 1,000 kilometers away. A project can come up in 50 kilometers away, another project can come in 600 kilometers away. Instead of starting the project which is 1,000 kilometers away, where the 1,000 kilometers of road, hundreds of bridges has to be constructed, instead of the proper methodology, proper focus should be given that projects on the lower reaches should be started earlier. But that economics has to be seen also, whether that project will be viable at this stage or it will be viable at a later stage. That economics has to be seen, how much we have to spend on the infrastructure, how many have to spend in the project construction. These are things which are delaying our year, and government has to look into the law and order, that the whole thing which is delaying the construction of the projects.
Well, in the past, we've seen many hydro project faced agitation, though the government of India has made an effective R&R policy, but project affected people claim that they are not compensated properly. What measures should be taken by the government to gain the people confidence in infrastructure development activities?
You see, there is a clear-cut, very good R&R policy of Government of India. And let me tell you, even beyond the policy, R&R policy of Government of India, we have our own R&R policy in SJVN. So often to say that the people are not compensated, to begin with, let me tell you, the matter is not this. The project which was envisaged as a storage plant, a storage hydro project, is being converted into run-of-the-river project with longer tunnels, getting the head and all this. Why so? All right, to reduce the displacement of the people. In ROR scheme, hardly few families or few houses are displaced. They are adequately given compensation. The issue does not lie here. The issue is there is an anti-hydro group and campaign. A hydro campaign is now going around our country that also needs to be taken care of. It is not compensated and there is no development being taken place for the local people. Matter is not this. It is being, the people are developed, the area, the economic condition of the people are upgraded, the connectivity is created, everything. Because the issue is, if you do a hydro project in the interiors of Arunachal Pradesh, you need to have the willpower first to create connectivity, to create awareness among the people, and the government should be proactive, the local government. And there is a potential, huge potential which can be developed. And of course, wherever there is no minimum and bona fide compensation being given to the people, that has to be avoided. We see that they are compensated fully, but under no circumstances they have to be compensated much more, what they deserve to be. Ultimately, it is the development of the project, not merely for the development of the metro cities of the country, it is development of the local people of the hilly states also.
The plans of compensation, rehabilitation are always made in consultation with state government. So, whenever we make a plan, we always give a copy to state government, then state government goes to the public and tells them. On the satisfaction only the project is cleared with environmental angle. But after that, you know, when people come into more awareness, or they are pumped by, you know, some of the outside agencies, then tell them, you have accepted low price or you have accepted little, you should ask for more, then the problems come.
I will just like to tell you how the land acquisition takes place. We give to the district magistrates who gives the highest rate in the last 4 years or 5 years. But what is the appreciation? When we start the land acquisition and construction of the project, that takes 2 to 3 years. Because the project is coming up, appreciation takes place. And the landowner who has sold at the rate which is the highest at that time, he feels, I have been cheated by the project developer, by the agency who is developing the project. And the appreciation further increases once the project is constructed, completed. That has to be taken care by the project developer, project manager.
I fully agree with Mr. Singh that they are being fully compensated, rather more than being compensated. All their needs are taken care of. Question is, what are the needs? So if you have emotions that you rose their emotions, that you should get 10 times. In some of the cases, you are paying compensation as high as in Connaught Place area rates, but still there are problems. It's not the quantum of compensation, the amount of compensation, the quality of facility you are providing. The propaganda is going on, and in the public sector or in even the private sector, they are not able to compete with them in the propaganda. And I would urge the media also to kindly take a proactive role, not to side with those who are opposing the construction of such projects, rather support the projects so that the project goes on. It is in the benefit. If the project develops, the local population gains, the state government gains, the nation gains. It's the other way around, as if everybody is there to stop the project.
Central will have to take very strong steps to make sure that infrastructure is provided to the developers, and also to make sure that states actually contribute and they support those projects. Well, one possible solution could be that the state government can form special purpose vehicle as done in the case of ultra mega power projects, and these SPVs would acquire all the clearances and then hand over the project to the developer for development. This could save ample time, and the developer then would only be concerned about the project construction. Well, it's time to take another short break here. We'll be back in a while. You keep watching Power News.
When you are determined to be a winner, your desire to conquer is fueled by the power of your instinct. With eyes set on the target, you create your own path. Your determination inspires you to never give in. Then emerges a creator of a winning journey, blazing a trail for others to follow. We are Jindal Power Limited.
जल से जल तक, मेगावाटर से मेगावाट्स तक, SJVN लिमिटेड।
आज फिर मशीन बंद हो गई।
मशीन तो ठीक है, बिजली धोखा दे गई, केबल ही घटिया है।
मानो या न मानो, आज भी कई औद्योगिक क्षेत्रों में बिजली की कमी के कारण हजारों लोगों को खाली हाथ घर लौटना पड़ता है। तो क्यों न एक ऐसा पावर केबल चुने जो बिजली बचाए, बिजली का घाटा रोके और शॉर्ट सर्किट का जोखिम घटाए। चुने रवीन केबल्स। प्राइम कैब रवीन केबल्स उत्पादन।
Welcome back, you're watching Power News, and in today's episode we're discussing India's Hydro Vision 2020. Many hydro projects are also facing agitation from local people, like 2000 megawatt Lower Subansiri hydro project. NHPC is losing almost 5 crore every day. Even central and state government's intervention has not been able to solve the problem. What should be the approach in such a situation?
I served about 20 years in Sikkim, in Darjeeling, where we felt the law and order problem sometimes becomes a very big hurdle. And especially Darjeeling, even Arunachal have heard of it, the projects get stalled for months. Super work is going on, and really when you require a critical activity to be continued, without that lot of loss will take place to the project. The projects are stopped forcibly by the local people. And the government there, they don't step into it. Immediately, because of political reasons or whatever the reason, they don't step into it. That's why projects gets delayed. That's why, as you see, if 15,000 megawatt was to be added into our 11th plan, we are going nearly up to 6,000 only. There is hardly 35% or something like that. These are many reasons why, as Mr. Sharma has told, that Subansiri project, on and off, the project gets stalled by the local people, local political parties. That cannot be tackled by the project administrator, project managers. That has to be tackled by the state government. If we want that a project has to be taken, has to be completed in 6 years, engineers can make it in 6 years, but provided they get uninterrupted construction period of 6 years, 24 hours per day. What that doesn't happen all the time.
Some of the projects we have completed in 4 years' time. There were no issues like interstate disputes or law and order situations. Everything went well. There are examples of that. But like Subansiri, he said, there are interstate disputes also. Assam is not allowing or not cooperating. Yeah. The NGOs are stopping all electromechanical equipment at the border. The government should help. They should come forward. They cannot just leave it to NHPC. Dibang project, for example, no public hearing could take place for 5 to 6 times. This is the responsibility of state. Again, this pollution control board has to take care of that. So interstate disputes, all environmental factors, local factors, technically we are very capable of executing the projects in time, and we have shown that also.
We have Bhakra as one of the biggest storage projects, and the second in queue was Tehri. Rehabilitation was a big issue. R&R policy was not the issue, but today you see the project is completed, and the benefits which are accrued to the northern grid and to the people of Uttarakhand and the Tehri region in particular, each and every person is very happy, satisfied, and it is a boon to the country, not only Uttarakhand but to the northern grid. The rehabilitation, you see, out of say almost about 8,400 crores of the project which was commissioned for Tehri, 1,200 crores was the rehabilitation. It is not that the project authorities or the government, both were supportive of this thing, and it was done in a very short period, I would say. Once the people were convinced, it involved a full Tehri town got submerged. It is the basically an urban town, not only the 116 villages, and construction of almost 150 kilometers of the road. So storage projects, if they are converted into run-of-the-river scheme, because each river system must have a storage project to get the benefits of the run-of-the-river schemes downstream. Now, with the Tehri, all downstream projects in Ganges, they have got additional benefits of generation. Chilla was one of them. It has increased its generation. Other projects which are coming in queue will also increase because there is a planned and sustained water availability and I would call that the storage project, the water is gold. You can store it. Only thing is the regulatory issues also needs to be provided for the peaking power.
There should be a preference tariff for sustainability as well as development of the hydropower, in the sense there are companies, very older companies like OHPC and many other state companies having the same tariff at the rate of, even OHPC has a tariff rate of less than 10 paisa per unit, whereas the present highest rate is around 7 rupees, 8 rupees in the country. And we cater to the maximum of the peak load of the state. For that purpose, to have this, we should have a preference tariff, because even distribution companies are purchasing at very high rate during the peaking period, because they have the peaking shortage, they purchase at very high rate in the market. Okay, that's why it is very logical, very much required that this preference tariff should be there in the cards.
And nowadays, storage projects are not being taken up, or these projects are being converted into run-of-the-river projects. At the time of independence, we had taken up major multi-purpose projects. We had Bagda, we had many others. We are not building up the storage projects. The water is falling just in a month or 2 months throughout the year and going to the sea. Now, more than the hydropower problem, the problem will be of availability of water. Even for generation of hydropower, if you don't have water, you can't generate power. So there are minimum flows, environmental flows, 15–20% should be left over for that purpose. So if you do not build up storage projects, we will not have water even to drink. Then there may be much bigger problem if we do not take care of this aspect.
Well, in past year, many states like Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, they've allocated number of projects to private companies on the basis of upfront premium and higher quantum of free power to the state, even cancelling some of the projects which were there with the central PSUs, and they were in the advanced stage of DPR.
There is different methodology adopted by various states of our country for allotting these projects. See, everybody has to come forward. Not even a single agency like the CPSU or state PSUs alone can do this. It's a gigantic task of developing more than 1 lakh megawatt in this country. Everyone has to come forward. Level playing field, why I have said there has to be a level playing field, that as conventionally it's going around in this country that the 12% of the free powers shall be to the state and 1% for the local area development. Is it? Is not it? And this the hydro policy also says. Now there is an open competition, some upfront, in terms of increase in free power and all these associated aspects. So my understanding of level playing field, that it should be similar, or level playing field should be available for all types of development. It should be. I think it is very clear what I wanted to say.
Well, with this we come to an end of this discussion. I'd like to thank all the panelists for joining us in Power News.